It took a comment from an outsider to ignite the fire. Not just any outsider, but Joe Schmidt, former All Blacks coach, now leading the Wallabies. And what he said didn't sound explosive at first, but beneath the surface, it carried a weight that shook the foundations of New Zealand rugby. His words hinted at something most Kiwis refuse to say aloud. Are we wasting Ardie Savea's full potential out of tradition, out of pride? This isn't just about a jersey number. It's about whether we're squandering one of the greatest players of this generation. And the silence from those inside the New Zealand camp, that's even louder. Ardie Savea, the enigma in the number 8 jersey. Ardie Savea has become a symbol of versatility in New Zealand rugby, but his role has long been a topic of debate. Should he be the cornerstone at number 8 or the unpredictable menace at openside flanker? The confusion hasn't just been a fan discussion. Coaches have struggled with it too, and now with Schmidt chiming in, it's not just noise, it's a signal. His observations come not as criticism, but as a challenge. Are we assigning positions out of tactical insight or just clinging to roles from the past because they make us feel safe? Joe Schmidt speaks. Subtle praise or hidden criticism. Schmidt's comments were as diplomatic as they come. It doesn't really matter who you're looking at when putting the team together. You just want balance. On the surface, that sounds respectful, but dig deeper and you see the real message. Schmidt's pointing out that Ardie's capabilities stretch beyond the rigidity of numbered jerseys. He's not saying Ardie doesn't fit. He's asking why we're trying to make him fit at all. And that's the paradox. New Zealand has a Swiss Army knife of a player, yet keeps trying to use him like a steak knife. What makes Ardie truly elite? There are athletes who are good at their job, and then there's Ardie Savea. Schmidt listed traits that would make any coach salivate. Left foot, right foot power, explosive speed off the back of the scrum, defensive tenacity, and overlooked line-out skills. He's not just effective, he's multidimensional. Most fans know him for his energy and grit, but Schmidt laid it out plainly. Ardie is the kind of player who can change games in 5 different ways, and that's rare. Yet we often talk about him like a fill-in, as if he's covering a gap instead of setting the standard. The silent leader, Ardie's contagious drive. Not all leadership is vocal, and Ardie embodies that. He's not the locker room shouter or the guy who needs a pregame speech. His leadership is kinetic. It's in his runs, his tackles, and his refusal to slow down. Schmidt called it out clearly. Ardie doesn't try to overplay his hand, but he's got more cards than most. He inspires by showing, not telling. That's more powerful than a microphone, because players don't just hear Ardie, they feel him. Praise from the legends, a performance for the ages. The recent Blues game turned heads, and not just among fans. Jeff Wilson, a man who knows elite rugby, said he'd never seen a player drag a team to such heights before. Mills Muliaina took it further, calling it maybe the best all-around performance he'd ever witnessed in Super Rugby. These aren't throwaway compliments, they're legacy-level praise. And they raise the question, if Ardie is capable of that, why are we even questioning how to use him? Is Robertson the right coach for Ardie? Now all eyes are on Scott Robertson. Razor has charisma, ambition, and a winning pedigree, but does he have the boldness to let Ardie roam free, to redefine his role entirely? Or will he fall into the same trap, boxing Ardie into an outdated system that limits his brilliance? The All Blacks have a habit of tradition, but tradition without evolution is stagnation. Robertson's legacy might hinge on this decision more than any other. The elephant in the room. Why did it take Joe Schmidt? This is what hurts the most for Kiwi fans. It took the Wallabies coach to speak the truth. Where are the homegrown voices? Where's the courage to question the system from within? Maybe they're too close. Maybe they fear rocking the boat. But when silence reigns, progress stalls. Joe Schmidt may no longer wear black, but he still sees what many refuse to. The system versus the player. When talent clashes with tradition, the All Blacks aren't just a rugby team, they're a legacy, but sometimes legacy can become a cage. Ardie Savea represents the modern player, dynamic, adaptable, and unshackled by traditional expectations. Yet the system around him still plays by old rules. What happens when a player like Ardie wants to rewrite the manual, but the system keeps handing him the same chapter? It's not just about coaching, it's about institutional mindset. Tradition should be a foundation, not a straitjacket. The global perspective, how the world sees Ardie outside New Zealand. Ardie Savea is viewed as a once-in-a-generation talent. International analysts rave about his instincts, his energy, and his unmatched work rate. If he played for another country, say France, Ireland, or even South Africa, would he already be seen as a player around whom you build an entire game plan? Is New Zealand simply too spoiled by talent to recognize Ardie's unique worth? His global reputation continues to grow, even if his home country struggles to define his legacy. The clock is ticking. What happens if we don't act? Time is cruel in sports. Careers peak and fade faster than anyone expects. Ardie Savea is still in his prime, but for how long? Every season without clarity is a missed opportunity. If the All Blacks don't fully commit to unleashing his potential now, they may never get another chance. The question isn't just about where Ardie plays next season. It's about what legacy he leaves behind, and whether that legacy was defined by bold choices or missed opportunities. What story will we be telling in 5 years? A tale of triumph or one of what could have been? Beyond the field, Ardie Savea as a cultural force. Ardie Savea is more than just an athlete. He's become a symbol of modern masculinity, cultural pride, and evolution in New Zealand sport. As a Samoan New Zealander, he embodies the changing face of rugby leadership. Humble, fearless, and unafraid to challenge norms. Off the field, he's spoken out about mental health, identity, and purpose. He's a player young fans can look up to, not just because of how he plays, but because of how he lives. Ignoring his full impact would be a disservice not just to rugby, but to the next generation. The way we frame Ardie's role now sends a message about what kind of leadership we value in our national teams. Will we choose tradition for tradition's sake, or embrace a future where identity and innovation thrive side by side? The business of rugby. Are stars like Ardie undervalued? Rugby isn't just a game anymore. It's a global business. Sponsorships, broadcast deals, and international branding shape decisions behind the scenes. And in this arena, Ardie Savea is gold. He's marketable, recognizable, and deeply respected worldwide. But is New Zealand rugby truly leveraging his value? Or are they missing a commercial opportunity by not building the team's identity around him? In the era of player-driven sports economies, athletes like Ardie are the face of the franchise. Yet the All Blacks still seem hesitant to elevate individuals within the team-first culture. That humility is noble, but is it outdated in the age of international superstars? As other nations build campaigns around one name, New Zealand continues to sideline one of their most bankable figures. What the fans are really saying behind the commentary desks and media headlines, the most telling voices are the fans themselves. Scroll through social media or listen at the pub and you'll hear a recurring theme. Ardie Savea is doing everything right and still being questioned. For many supporters, it's baffling. He bleeds for the jersey, plays with unmatched fire, and never asks for praise. Yet discussions around his role persist as if he hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt. Some say it's tall poppy syndrome, others call it outdated thinking. But one thing is clear, the public knows greatness when they see it and they're tired of the hesitation. In the end, fans want what Ardie wants: clarity, consistency, and the chance to watch brilliance thrive without constraints. And they're growing louder by the week. A player like no other. Being wasted? Ardie Savea isn't just a player, he's a phenomenon, an icon in motion, but we treat him like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit when really he's the entire board. Joe Schmidt's comments weren't radical, they were necessary, and if we keep ignoring them, history will ask why. Why did we have a once-in-a-generation athlete and still fail to unleash him fully? What would you do if you were in charge? Because one thing is clear, Ardie deserves more than praise, he deserves purpose.